Good people, I hope you are well and winning. My name is Godfrey Kadzere and I will be your host with the most on Love on a Podcast, a platform where we talk about anything and everything to do with love. Yes, there is the love that you are accustomed to, the loving tones, Mazirudu, right? But also here on this podcast, we talk about the L's, right? Lessons or losses, opportunities, victory, and exercise. Everything that it takes to participate in a relationship properly. Ne? Just so you're balanced. And this is a new series, good people. And I want to introduce you to a new guest, good people. Her name is Kumbirai neRutendo, aka Tete Humba, aka Like of Things. I'm just gonna put it out there. This woman is a vibe. She is exceptional. She is multi-talented, multifaceted, and I'm here for it. And she expresses that through various platforms such as YouTube. She's a YouTuber, a vlogger. She is a photographer. She is a DIY specialist. Overall, excellence and goodness. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to this conversation, guys, because it's a chat. Pane Nyaya, that's what I'm saying when I say it's a chat. Pane Nyaya, Pane Nyaya is a new series that I want to start where we actually double click on topical issues, key issues that affect us as young people, as young adults specifically. In our spaces, in the marketplace, in families, in our communities, our societies. Pane Nyaya, and what is the chat today? Well, let me present it for you. Right? Let me give it to you on a silver platter. I believe, it seems that men are struggling to connect to, relate to, address what we believe is the evolving woman. Let me expand. The evolving woman, there's the difference, what seems there's a disparity between the woman of today, right, and the woman of yesterday. And when I talk about the woman of yesterday, I'm referring to our mothers, the older generation, and of course the woman of today is Exhibit A. That rhymed. I might add effects there. So there's a difference. I think men are struggling. I really think men are struggling. If women are earning more, if women are more vocal, all of that stuff. Pane Nyaya, guys. And I think something needs to be done. At least we need to start conversations to firstly perhaps enlighten or inspire men to engage women better.
Evolve with us.
Evolve with women. And perhaps also enlighten women or inform women on how to approach what I think is a situation. So yeah, just your first thoughts on that.
First of all, I agree. We are very different. The woman that I am now is very different to the woman my mother was. It's very different to the woman my grandmother was. And even my older sisters were very, very different. And men are shaken a little bit. You know, when they see us, they're just like, oh, I don't know if I can handle that. I was telling you earlier, I did a video on my channel and assumptions video, and someone sent in an assumption saying that they think that I'm hypergamic. Hypergamy means you are only interested in having relations with people or with a man or a woman in this world now. We are interested in having a relationship with a man who is of a higher social status or financially, better, than you are. So it's kind of coming, like you want a man who will bring you up. And for me, first of all, it doesn't run true, but I think someone saying that might be coming from a place of they don't know if they can handle me. That's how I looked at it. They don't know if they can be with me. So he's already, I'm assuming it was a guy, he's already taken himself out of the running to be Kumbi's husband.
Yeah.
Because he sees Kumbi online, he sees her on YouTube, and she's talking about all these things. He's seeing all the work that she's doing. She's working in NGOs. She's doing her own creative stuff on the side. She's just, looking good. And he's like,
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can handle it. I don't think I have the money to be able to take care of her, or that sort of thing. So already, that's what you're talking about. The evolving woman. I'm more vocal and more expressive of who I am to the world, not just to people around me, to the world.
Yeah.
And people are watching from the sidelines, and they're just like, I
appreciate how you've presented that, setting up what is part of the foundation of the conversation, right? I value definitions. It helps us to understand things, it helps us to connect with things. So even when you mentioned hypergamy, which I've learned today, you never stop learning with people. And I'm not afraid to concede that I don't know what you're talking about. What's that? But yeah, hypergamy, right? Or hypogamy, which is
hypo is the opposite.
The opposite
so wanting someone who's below
you. Yeah, those are very real things. Even when we talk about submission, which we'll also double click on, right? If we talk about submission, if we talk about roles and responsibilities, or even rights and duties, right? Terms and conditions, these are all facets of relationships between men and women, if we're talking about heterosexual relations, but also, between anyone, if it's people of the same gender or sex, if it's people who are in a friendship, platonic relationship, if it's people in a professional relationship, there's always these facets, terms and conditions, rights and duties, roles and responsibilities that make up this relationship. So now, of course, we're talking about romance, right? Romantic relationships between men and women. And it really is becoming quite a sticky situation where men are glitching, systems are malfunctioning, error messages everywhere, where you grew up seeing the man of the house, right, facilitating, administrating relations in the home in a certain way. You're looking at your dad like, I want to be like him when I grow up, right? This is how it's done. As the man, you have... I was about to say something inappropriate.
Say it. We have honest and open conversations here.
Shame, okay. The fact that I thought about it was big. Anyway, no claim but shame. You want to show that you're the man, that you've got this sense of dominance that looks a certain way, right? That is perpetuated by certain things, supported in a way as well by the way that the women around you act, which we would say then, as you're saying, looking at my mother, this is what perhaps a woman could look like. But then wait, as you've grown up,
I'm very different. I'm so different to the woman my mother was, I'm sure, when she was my age. Even I see it even in the conversations I have with her, where I'm trying to express something to her, and I'm very open. And she's like, I'm learning. I'm learning. I don't know.
Praise God, she's learning.
I'm learning. I'm grateful that she's kind of put herself in a position where she's appreciating that we're very, very different and growing up in very different times. But I was talking to my sister a few weeks ago, and I was telling her something that I said at home. I'm not going to say it here because my mother watches these things, by the way, so I'm not going to say it. But I was telling my sister, and she's like, how did you say that to Mama? I was like, I just said it. I said, this is it, and these are my terms and conditions. And she just said, okay. She's like, I could never dream of saying that because of the way my sister was raised and in the times she was raised, because we have like a 17 year difference. And we're raised by the same mother. But the person she became and the person I am now, very two different people. And I think even the way she relates with her daughters, she's also kind of like, okay. Because of the women they are becoming, because her daughters are coming after me. And I even look at my little cousins, my nieces, and sometimes they do things or they say things, I'm like,
say what?
How? In whose house?
In which life?
In whose house are you saying that? Because I can't even imagine saying that. So that's me. Can you imagine what my mother would think if she heard one of my nieces saying something like that? And imagine the men. Because now what's happening is, it seems like it's the women who are evolving, but the men are still being raised the same.
Yo, go there. Let us go there.
Yeah.
When we talk about how people are raised, because a lot of the times with what we're dealing with today, we're seeing the fruits of what was sown years ago, decades ago, of course, depending on how old you are, right? We're seeing a result of things being not addressed, being left unaddressed, unattended to, looking at how, if you and I are brother and sister in the same household, best believe that there's a certain type of lenience that I will benefit from. And I don't even think I don't even actually see it as a benefit in the long run, at least retrospectively, right? Where if it's curfews, if it's mannerisms, conduct, if it's correction and rebuke, what it looks like between the two of us, we're seeing the men who were boys yesterday that were not particularly groomed well. And I say this respectively. I don't want to say, the men today were not raised properly. I mean, yeah, some weren't, but of course I'm speaking generally, that there is a disparity, clearly, right? And it starts at the grassroots.
Yeah.
But
I think it also goes down, and I'm going to bring this into the conversation, it comes down to patriarchy.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, what's happening now, what we see happening in the world is women fighting for their rights. It's women fighting for their voice to be heard.
Yeah.
And this is something that was never part of our society, or the way things were done back then. Whereas for men, nothing is really changing. For example, they're not fighting for anything. Men are not
like
fighting.
A complacency.
So women are fighting for something, and that's why you see us being more vocal. You see us being more, being free in the way that we dress, in the way that we do things.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we could never do before. But nothing has really changed for the men. The men could do it then, and they can do it now.
Sure.
So they're not evolving, and they're not kind of, understanding us, where women are, and that's what's making them shake.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, but what I saw my mother do is not what you're doing. So what exactly are you? So you want me to do dishes? No, my mother never asked my father to do dishes. And it's something so small. Dishes.
It's a life skill.
Come on.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
you think I like washing dishes every day?
Also, can we normalize getting dishwashers?
Exactly. Let's get help.
Let's get help, right? If we're gonna spend money in this household, let's spend it making our lives easier.
Exactly.
Right?
Convenience.
Convenience.
Yeah.
Convenience is a great commodity, guys, and buy into it. But it's those things, those kinds of conversations. Are men willing? I think that's the question. Pane Nyaya, right? When I'm saying we need to talk, right? I feel like we need to talk about willingness. We need to talk about openness, open-mindedness. We need to talk about humility. We need to talk about change, transformation, right? And we need to talk about acceptance. Yes.
Acceptance.
We're in the same WhatsApp group.
Accepting that this is what is there,
Yeah.
and working with it and finding, because there's no way. And I think another thing is it now seems like women are so aggressive. It's not that we're aggressive. And this is where I'm going to bring in the submission chat. What does submission look like? For me, I don't consider myself my friends say I'm a feminist in my own right and in my own way. That's fine. I don't think I'm it in the way that I've seen it on the internet. And that whole thing of accepting. If you accept who I am, and if you treat me and you love me for the person that I am, and you allow me to be me, that already is putting my love for you at a different level, because I feel comfortable and I'm in a safe space with you. So I'm going to do whatever it is that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So if my man wants to be served, right? He wants me to cook and serve him. If he's accepting me for who I am and understands that on some days I just can't do it, but on the days that I can, I am going to serve my man.
Yeah.
Best believe I'm gonna do it with my whole heart. I'm not gonna, because he gets me.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I come on some day and say, you know what, like I'm not in that space, I'm
No.
tired, or I'm tired from work or whatever, and he says, baby, I understand. Let's go for dinner, or let's get takeout.
Yeah.
Then
Or I'll cook.
I'll cook and I will serve you.
Yeah.
Best believe the next day I'm gonna be like, babe, today I'm gonna, things are okay. Like, what do you want for dinner? I'll cook your favorite meal.
Yeah.
You're gonna have what you want.
Yeah.
And I'll even run the bath for you afterwards.
Yeah.
And I will massage your feet.
Can I also just say, if I can just add, apparently there's a thing called the head rubs, gents.
Okay. And are they?
Oh yeah, like if you're just being massaging your head, and just if you have a bald head, it might be even better.
Because you can get the oil. The oil can do the
So I don't know if you're about that, guys, you should try it out. I've never done it, but I've heard about it.
I'm willing to try.
Yeah, head rubs. Apparently they're a thing, and they're very therapeutic. So you should give it a go.
Yeah.
But I appreciate how you presented submission, because if I can just note, because as I said, I like defining things. I like giving context and understanding on things. So understanding can come from two. Let me just say two, but it can be several purviews, right? So submission can be understood by a non-Christian, and it can be understood by a Christian. And of course, from the place of understanding, it's then how it's effective and implemented, right? So I'm going to speak from the Christian purview. Submission to us is presented in several passages of Scripture. If you're submitting to God, if you're submitting to your spouse, your wife or your husband. And I said or intentionally because submission actually goes both ways. And I'll give you a reference if you want to go there. Ephesians 5 verse 21. From verse 15, actually, there are verses prior to that give more context on why submission is part of interaction with the Holy Spirit and. But you should go read it and check it out. But from verse 21, and it says, Spirit-guided relationships in marriage look like this. Submit to one another, right? Wives, it looks like this. As you submit to Christ, you will submit to your husband, right? Because you fear the Lord and you honor the Lord. Husbands, as Christ died for the church, that's a standard that's been placed. As a man, you gotta die every day for your wife. Of course, it's not literal, but it means you sacrifice, you present your entire being to your wife, right? And so that two-way street is so key in the health of such a relation. Of course, I'm talking about marriage in this case. But yeah, I mean, what does it look like to die to self then if now it looks different to you in this day and age compared to what it looked like yesterday? That's why I'm bringing it back now. That can we say that the men of yesterday, our fathers, our uncles, our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, died to themselves as did they die to their wives? Can we say that confidently? So that we can at least emulate it if they did. And if they didn't, doesn't that also place a responsibility on us today, gentlemen, to honor that standard, to die to self, die for your wife, in today's context?
But I'm just gonna ask, like, if a man is already shaking, what makes you think he's gonna be able to do that?
Well, if a man is shaking.
If a man is shaking just by meeting me.
So, I think it's gonna take time, but there is hope. So I'm gonna present hope from a Christian point of view. That even when things look dim and dark and hopeless, because I know women have given up.
Yeah.
And when I say this, of course I'm saying it generally. Yes, we have the sisters that still believe in us, bless your souls. But generally, no, women are.
I do.
Yes, I included that. But generally, women are tired. We're tired, right? That's why hashtags like men are trash thrive and flourish because women are tired. So we could go on that and talk about that further in the next segment. All right, so yeah, guys, submission. I think it really is important to be aware of what it looks like for you, what it looks like in your relationship, because then it affects how you relate to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And expectations.
And expectations, yeah.
Because what submission might look like to me might be very different to what he knows submission as. And I'm going to bring in this chat. Patriarchy and submission. Where's the difference? What does it look like?
Yeah.
Because for him, what he expects as submission might just be the patriarchal aspect of life, of things.
Yeah.
Where it might not necessarily, where, he's like the woman must, and he kind of forgets that, no, but also the man, for him, he's just like the man must provide and that's it. No, you provide emotionally, you provide mentally, provide financially.
Go there.
Don't just provide food.
Yeah.
Because what is food if I'm hurting in my heart? I'm not going to eat it because my emotions are just not even allowing me to eat. So now I'm going 2 days without eating the food that you're working so hard to provide because you are doing your part. So it's also understanding.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on
listen,
that, on
guys,
patriarchy? And
Pane Nyaya, guys. There's a lot to talk about because it's a mess. It's such a mess. When again we look at the yesterday's man compared to today's man, in relation to yesterday's woman compared to today's woman, their understanding of submission, their understanding of control, authority, leading, right, mandate is very different. Just like patriarchy, what I understand about it is that it is actually a good thing. It is actually a godly thing that is ordered by God for a divine purpose, right? If it is being done properly. Patriarchy for me, it's a system. It's a form of governance, right, that is supposed to guide action, conduct, relations between people, placing men in accountability, in a position of accountability. Unfortunately, sadly, tragically, in our sinfulness and short-sightedness, we've taken patriarchy to be a control thing, a domination thing, and
power.
Because and power, yes, that's the other one I was looking for. And because we're not going to get it right, it leads to abuse. It leads to mistreatment, misunderstandings, oppression, regression, everything that's just dim and dark and just unpleasant. So if it's being done properly, I'll reiterate. In the light of patriarchy, a man who is aware that accountability is in his court, he will ensure that he's honoring his mandate and role in the household. He will ensure that he's striving to honor his that standard that Christ sets for manhood, for fatherhood, for husbandry, right? Husbandhood. I don't know which one it is, but I'm sure you get. Okay, so husbandhood. Let's but yeah, let's run with that, right? So if I get it right, praise be to God, and things are dandy, my wife is at peace and content and happy. If I get it wrong, I'm accountable, right? Knowing that the well-being of my household is in my hands. So we then take it upon ourselves that it's in my hands, we should do it my way. It becomes it just becomes a mess, which I think you can be able to take accountability and lead a home with support, with the partnership of your partner, of your wife, right? So that's where things go south, where we don't understand this thing, where we go about it wrong because we misunderstand it, and then it leads to abuse and power struggles and all of that.
Right. And which is where guys now in our generation are still looking for that power. They're still expecting. It's actually not looking. They're expecting it. And then you have a woman who says, nope.
Right.
Not when I'm here. Not with me. And now because because we're so vocal, men are also now getting, intimidated.
It becomes a competition.
Yeah.
Instead of the complementarian approach to relations, we are competing.
Right.
And that's a mess. We weren't created to compete against each other. We were created to complement each other.
Yeah.
Right? There are references to that as well. One of my favorite is 1 Peter 3 verse 7. Again, spirit-guided relationships. This is Peter speaking now. And he says, this is what it looks like for wives. This is what it looks like for a husband. It goes as far as to say, sir, I'm talking to you now. Your prayers will not be answered if your relations with your wife aren't proper. I'm just like, hectic. Right?
Deep.
That's deep.
That's deep.
Right? So stuff like that, if you are aware, if you are then applying it where wisdom comes into the picture, it's supposed to be fine. And Kumbi, you were mentioning, I'm happy to be submitting to a man who incubates my being in this household.
I'm happy, yeah.
Right?
Any man who's watching this, and I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. So I get it. So then now, if we think about submission in that light, if we think about patriarchy in that light, we may see more goodness in this world.
Right.
It'll be difficult.
But it's just unfortunate that it's just not. That's not it. But it's good that we're having the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this conversation extends beyond just me and you.
Yeah.
And it goes into, other people's conversations, with reference to this and, just to get people talking about it. Because when we don't talk about it, then we're doing ourselves a disservice.
Yeah.
For our men, I really do believe in our young men. I really think we've got it, like they've got a good thing going. But it's also just because of the way that they were raised and the families that we're coming from.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it takes so much to unlearn. There's a lot of unlearning that we need to do in order to learn. As individuals, as societies, as friends, as families, because now these things are just in that family. That's how they do things. You know how in Zim, it's already known that kumashingo, usaroro kumashingo. Because they're gonna ill-treat you because they make their wives, because obviously they're trying to say patriarchy is at an all-time high in Mashingo. So I'm being told by my grandmothers, actually, go back to Mtare where you're from, and that sort of thing. And those are things that they need to, our families need to unlearn that. Our mothers need to unlearn and say, you know what, Murora Ashan, this way she's not a slave. When she comes, she's part of the family. So I want my Murora to feel fine. If my Murora is coming with my son and they have money or whatever, and my Murora says, Mama, I'm getting a caterer, convenience. Take it. Eat those wings, okay? It's not all about southern beef. Eat the wings. Eat the
prawns. Sushi. I mean,
if your son is working and he's willing to put money into it, don't then look at it as murorongo, and my son's money is just going to. No, it's for helping everybody. Hopefully, I'm hoping Baroras are like me. I would do that. But, you know what I'm saying. So it's unlearning from a family point of view, from society, from communities, from friends. If you have conversations with your friends and your friend is saying, I know from where I come from, and people, I take pride in it. Me, I'm a mofu.
Mofi mkono.
I'm a mofu. We don't do that. I'm a shumba. I'm a samaita. And it's, talking to your friends and saying, dude, whether you're mofu or samaita, this is it. And if we do this way.
Yeah, and I like how just what you said at the end there, that I believe that there are universal principles that can impact and edify relationships. So whether you're a Christian or not, whether you are a man or a woman, whether you're a child or a parent, there are universal facets to relationships that should benefit relationships. Where if we respect each other, if we honor each other, if we love each other, if we agree, there's bound to be harmony and goodness coming out of it. But what are we agreeing on? And why I'm trying to create a segue there, even the thing about intimidation, right? Is it possible for us to even agree between men and women what intimidation looks like, or how or why people feel intimidated, specifically men feel intimidated by women? What is it that is intimidating us?
That's the question. Why?
Yeah.
What and why? What is it that's intimidating a man? Okay. What is, we'll say maybe work, her work,
salary,
conversations, or maybe her confidence in public spaces, or even just when you're speaking, her confidence to speak out and to say her mind and her opinion.
Yeah.
But the question is why?
Insecurities.
Why?
Right.
Who said a man should earn more than a woman?
cognitive dissonance. Gents are buckling, right?
Who said that a woman cannot speak her mind and disagree with a man, but still be cool, just agreeing to disagree, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Me disagreeing doesn't mean it must be a fight.
Go there. Go there.
Doesn't mean that I hate you. So, or I'm thinking very little of you because I'm disagreeing with your opinion on a certain thing. It's not that, but men then feel like you mustn't have a say.
Sure.
And I don't know why. Why do men? Have you ever felt intimidated? Have you ever? Or
I
your
have.
friends? And what is it that was intimidating you?
I'll be transparent. I definitely have been intimidated by a woman or women, right? And I can attest to what I retrospectively have come to terms with, that it's a brokenness of sorts, a broken view of value, of worth, of significance or importance, a broken view of stature, right? Where with what I was accustomed to, dominance looked like having more or being more, right? Or being perceived as being more, right? Just primarily from what I literally lived through, whether it was from my father, I'm saying this respectfully, sir, but just, like, Dad, I see what you're doing, I see what you're about, it can be good or it can be bad. It's actually that simple, right? And of course, that can be relative as well. Good to who, right? If we're defining things. So I definitely had a broken view as I look back, that I had a broken view of women's worth in my life, my place in women's lives, right? Where I'm supposed to be more. I'm supposed to see more, be able to do more. And so when she's better than me,
it's like, why? Wow.
Right? So that's kind of where it comes from. Insecurity, broken view of things, misunderstanding, and it manifests in your actions. You lash out, probably. You dismiss. You discount whatever she's saying, invalidate, just because she's actually making sense. And
I don't know, in this moment I don't know anything.
She's actually making sense. I didn't expect that. Or she's right and I'm wrong. Getting to that, pride is also part of the equation. I did say I'm being transparent. Pride is a thing as well, where but I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew what to do, but clearly I didn't. So, it's a mess. And with that, from a place of admitting that this kind of work needs to be done, these kind of conversations need to happen, you've done a lot of work already. As I speak to other men as well, like gents, we need to come to terms with the fact that we've dropped the ball. It starts there, right? But there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Well, that's intimidating.
Oh. Well, you learn that, right? But you learn that, hey, actually, this is a good thing that...
Let me give you an example of something that actually happens to me. I'm going to say it again. I told you already. I'm going to say it again. This past weekend, I met people, and one of the people I met is closer to my age. Right? But I didn't notice.
Oh, okay.
So he looked older. Sorry if you're listening. He looked older, and so, I felt hella intimidated around them, because these people have, they are levels way above me, you know, and they, when someone asks you and you're just like, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm a digital entrepreneur, and they're like, what's that? And you're now trying to explain that, there's actually a lot of value in the work that I do, but now, you're dealing with people who are basically, they've just, in the corporate world, they are there. And the same person, I tried not to show that I was intimidated, because I'm just like, I still need to show that I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about. But the same person came to me and was like, you're so honest in the way that you speak. Everything you say, you're just so honest. And I could sense a little bit of intimidation on his end. To say, wow, this woman, if you just, she's the type to just be like, yo, I'm not doing that. I'm not there. Because if I don't want something, I don't want it. And I'm very open. I'll say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want that. No, this is what I think. Yes, I agree. I'm here. I'm very honest about it. So, it was interesting for me when I was thinking back and now having this conversation to say, as much as he was intimidated, I was also intimidated.
Yeah.
Right? Not to say that women don't get intimidated. We do. I do. I'm being transparent now and I'm telling you guys what I experienced. Just a few days ago. I also get intimidated. But it's not what you do with that intimidation. Are you going to go...
Your response.
Your response to it.
Yeah.
Because I was intimidated, but I didn't... I think the first response I had was to pull back.
Yeah.
To make myself even smaller. That was my first response. But as a man, your response is to...
You know what? I'm going to show you.
So it's also your response. I'm not saying that men are really bad, because women, we also don't have it all together. We're not perfect. No one is perfect. So I think in this conversation, as much as we're saying men, I think as women, I'm just putting it out there that they also...
I appreciate the transparency.
Times where we just... It's hard.
Of course.
It's hard.
Short left.
It's hard. The error. What did you say?
Error message.
Error message.
Error message 404. It's there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I really appreciate what you said about unlearning. Because from what I've seen, guys, I've felt justified a lot. Just because what's wrong with what I'm doing? This is what everyone else is doing, right? And it becomes what is normalized.
Right. That's the word I was going to bring in.
Right? What has been normalized. And a lot of unlearning needs to be done. And I'll give an example. This person doesn't know. I'm quite confident they don't know that I'm talking about them, but it's an example. I've had when I'm talking to gents, right? And for me at least, mentorship or discipleship or living in community is very important. And part of that is this thing of accountability, correction, rebuke, right? Guidance, support, counsel. So I was having a conversation with him about conduct, right? Our relations between men and women, what is proper, what is honorable, what is loving. And I was highlighting what I believed was problematic in what he was doing, right? In his relations with women. And what he said to me was, bro, it's a phase. I'll get over it when I get married or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're aware of what you're doing that is being perpetuated over an extended period of time, it's not going to just disappear when you said that, because you signed a piece of paper or just because you said I do.
Or gave money.
Or gave her money, right? There's another thing I want to talk about, right? It's not just gonna happen. It's stuff. So when I was saying this, I was hoping to inspire him to start taking action that will go over an extended period of time where you are weeding out. And I use that word intentionally because weeding out, these are weeds. These are bad habits. These are toxic traits that need to be changed.
Right.
My guy, you need to sort this out now, right? What if you're actually going to get married 2 years from now? Are you still going to be doing this for the next 2 years, which is in addition to the 5 that you've already been doing it?
And if it's taking you so long to you've been doing it for so long, unlearning something is not just going to happen just like that. If you've been doing it for 7 years, it might take you another 7 years to stop. So that's 7 years into your marriage. By that time, she's just like, dude, I'm out. Now you're divorced.
So, unlearning is integral. And we'll get into that a bit more. So, guys, these conversations need to happen. Pane Nyaya, guys, for real. I really do believe that conversation can be a great starting point for transformative action. We've seen wars between countries being ended just because a conversation was had, like, what are we trying to do here? Why are you fighting us? What? And then from that conversation to determine, that's what you're angry about. Okay, great, cool. And then, fine, let's sort out. You take this, So conversation, even when men are responding to what women are doing, find out why they're doing that, right? Because then I feel like a lot of these tensions just aren't being addressed properly.
Right.
So yeah, again, with the woman who is different today to the one who's different from the one from yesterday, I feel like things are being defined and redefined differently.
Okay.
When we talk about provision, right? Because even expectations are changing. The woman of today expects different things from the man of today, which is different from the woman of yesterday expecting things from the man of yesterday, right? And that again, too, it's also causing us to glitch and suffer and see flames. Things like provision. When a woman says a man must provide, yo, we're thinking to ourselves, oh, yeah, cool. I saw my dad provide the monies, right? And that was about it, sadly. I think it's sad. So I'll add that. So as long as I'm giving her money for her nails, her hair, her outfits, her trips, her data, if she likes eating out, if she likes going out with her friends, as long as I'm providing that, I'm the best husband in the world.
I've done everything.
I done did it, right?
Right.
When she's saying, hey, maybe also provide a safe space for me to be vulnerable. Provide support. I'm a businesswoman, actually. Hear me out. Hear my ideas. Provide
my ideas, exactly.
Right. So things like that. I feel like men are struggling to provide effectively or sufficiently.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
And also, I think on that, I was just gonna add when the intimidation comes in, when your woman is coming and she's saying, "I've got these business ideas," and you listen to them, you're like, "Damn, she's making sense."
Literally and figuratively.
Like, she's making sense. This woman has a good head on her
She's
shoulders.
making coin.
And then you get intimidated and you're like, "No, but my wife can't do better than me."
And then you what's the word?
So you don't provide that support. You
Sabotage.
You sabotage.
Yeah.
You don't provide the support that she needs in that moment. So you're gonna give her money and just be like, whatever, But you're not gonna provide for her in that way. And I don't know. For me personally, I want a man who provides in every way for me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know a lot of women are now very career driven, which is great, and they want to rise up the ladders and all of that. For me, I just want to be in a space where I can do what I love and serve my purpose, but still have a man who takes care of the home financially, but also who takes care of me emotionally, who takes care of me mentally, spiritually. Someone who I can be open and vulnerable to and say, you know what, I'm struggling to pray, and my man says, I'm going to pray with you.
Come on.
That is providing. And how many times did we grow up? I'm not saying I did, I'm grateful, but a lot of people who you only go to church with mama, or you go to spiritual things are only driven by mothers.
That's a
and not necessarily our fathers. Fathers are going to the pubs, and
that's an entire nyaya right there.
Conversations with, whoever they're having conversations with there, and you don't even know what those conversations are and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Guys, the context that we're talking about, and I think this is not just in Zim, this is in Africa. It's a thing in Africa. So you want a man who provides for you in those ways, and I don't know if guys are really stepping up to that table where it's just beyond the money. Yes, work, but you also need to be home to provide support, even just for the children. After me, it's the kids. They want their dad to do homework with them. Small things like that. Where men don't provide their time.
It's a Pane Nyaya, guys. That's an entire nyaya right there. For real. Like if we look at how when we say a man must provide, I'm always asking, provide what? Because you can provide finances, you can provide support, you can provide insight, guidance, counsel, you can provide resources, right? So many things. You can provide your time. I know I've heard a lot of cries just from my peers. I've cried as well, where it's great that I have what I have. Thanks, parents. But I want time with you, right? So, these kind of things, and this is also another vulnerability or transparency aspect where, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. There's the conversation of you have you've flown to places, right? You've gone to places, you've done things, you've experienced things because these things have been provided for you, but there's always something missing. Right.
But I think also with this is where that chat of, our parents have to work extra hard to provide a certain lifestyle for us.
Yeah.
And that's why maybe we didn't have the time. But I think at the end of the day, when you're having the discussion with your girlfriend, with your spouse, whoever, it's just trying to find a balance. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And we're not asking for perfection. That's another thing. I think men get a bit intimidated because they think the woman is looking for a perfect man.
Yeah.
For me personally, as I'm learning, I know that a man cannot be perfect. But it's having those conversations and understanding that this is what we're striving for, this is what we're working towards, we're on the same page. I know that sometimes you have meetings that go up to 7 p.m. But on Saturday, can you please keep your morning free because our son has a soccer match? Or because I have whatever, I don't know, I'm doing something and I would really like to support what I'm doing. And just having the conversation and having the balance, being approachable. Being approachable enough. Being soft enough. A man needs to be soft. I know men are being taught to be hard. They're being taught to be, whatever. You need to be soft enough for your wife to come to you and just speak to you. Not saying soft as in don't be a man, but a man can also be soft. Because I think at the end of the day, relationship for me, I said this a couple of months ago in one of my videos. I'm like, I want a love that is soft, a love that is safe.
Gentle.
A love that is gentle. I want a love that is intentional. And that's what I'm looking for in my man. A man who will be intentional in the way that he speaks, in the way that he does things, in the way that he reacts to certain things. I'm not going to say everything perfect, but I'm going to take a step back and say, okay, you know what? I don't like how you said it, but I'm going to respond in a nice way. And I think that's what's shaking men. Men don't know how to be soft. They don't know how to be gentle because they haven't been taught that. And so when a woman is, I also feel like sometimes, yes, we are aggressive because we're fighting. We're fighting. We're fighting against something. And that's what then makes it seem as if, we are also, we are intimidating, we are scary, we are too honest.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. When we see the disparity between men and women in several spaces, in fact, more spaces, I should say, you find it's men and then women. And so women are trying to do this, right? Or we may find some spaces where men are trying to do this, right? As rare as it may be, you find this happening, or there could be this united effort, this complementarian approach where both parties are working to try to do this, because I feel like this is where we should be, right? And this is why I think it was important to have this kind of conversation. That where can we, why is it necessary to even start doing this? Where we're seeing this, at least I'm seeing this, and in fact, some people are trying to do this. Right, women are trying to
push men down.
Push men down. And I don't know if that's progressive for on the general outlook, but a lot of work can be done, and there is hope, as I've said, and as I'm going to stress,
I believe so
that
too.
we can get to a place where we're like this. We're working together, and it's good. Just if I can add on what I think is sad, that this intimidation aspect, right? I'm thinking to myself, if we have a household, because I want to speak about functionality. If we have a household, this household should thrive, right? We need resources, effort, and time for this household to thrive, which means roles and responsibilities need to be effected optimally. It's going to be better for the household if both parties are doing something exceptionally well, whether it's individually or collectively. So, roles and responsibilities such as we need to eat in this house, come rain, come thunder. Whether it is my wife, whether it is me, it doesn't matter, right? It's a life skill that needs to be applied. So thinking to this disparity, the man who's never found in the kitchen, can you be inspired to change that narrative for the sake of functionality? This house needs to be clean. Come rain, come thunder. Whether it is you or her, sir, can you do that as well? So I think it's important. And we know that women are working now. right? Come rain, come thunder.
Yeah.
She might not be
able to right.
Do everything in this household. Can you, sir, help her?
And I think this is in the context of African men, to be honest, because I was having a conversation with someone as well, and someone I know moved to a European country or country in the West, and life is very different there. Life there, the man and the woman, they both have to show up.
Yeah.
If the wife is not there, the man has to come and cook. He has to take care of the kids, and she's gone to work, and they're swapping because they don't have the luxuries that we have here of having house help, of having all the stuff. So I think it's talking to African men, because I was being told he changed completely. He was that man who never stepped into the kitchen, never did anything. Now he's the one making those meals. So I think that's something that we also need to bring back here, back home, to say, even though we're here, even though we have certain luxuries, there's certain times when, and she does need help. House help is not there at 2 a.m. in the morning when the baby's crying. And she's been up, she only got to sleep at 1 a.m. Then the baby wakes up at 3.
Yeah.
Okay, can you wake up and just feed the baby for an hour? Go to sleep
Your
at
baby,
4.
by the way.
Your baby. Because auntie is sleeping. You can't expect auntie to be there 24 hours. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's small things like that where women need support, but also men also need support. And I fully understand that. But I think women are more willing and ready to support a man in whatever way he needs support, because that's what we consider love. Yeah. That's how we show love, to say, you know what, I'm here for you, baby. I'm gonna take care of whatever you need help with. I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think as we just kind of round off this conversation, a lot of work needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I hope that conversations like this can inspire that work to be done. It's not easy.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. But it's possible. As I've said, there's hope that we can get it right. And people just need to be willing, right? I want to present to you, good people, the person who gives me hope, at least the person who inspires me to even have any zeal or passion to see some of this stuff happen. I think Jesus, really, to be honest with you, I think Jesus is a great example for men, for this process, for us to try see it happen better, right? When you spoke about our response, the way that he responded to trial and tribulation or anything tragic was perfect, right? He expressed that great balance between strength and that expression of vulnerability or that being emotional. It was okay to connect with emotion. So as a man, if you are shocked by what you're experiencing, it's okay to live in that, but then be able to respond lovingly or appropriately according to the thing, right? Like the thing of men don't cry or boys don't cry, because of that's what yesterday's man was exposed to or taught. We, today's men, can be inspired to do something like that. Even for women, right? Yesterday's women and today's women, how are you relating to men who are stubborn? How are you relating to men who are trying? How are you relating to men who are ignorant? Those are questions that we can all be asking ourselves, but it's got to be how you respond to all of that. So that's what I'm going to say. Like if you're trying to be a man who is evolving, or who is a man who shows up when he needs to show up, who provides as he's supposed to, give it a go and learn about how Jesus did it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't think I need to add more.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I need to add more. Thank you. It was a really good conversation, and I'm really happy that I was here and we were able to talk about these things. And I'm hoping that, someone takes something from this conversation and they go and have the conversations elsewhere. When you go for your drinks with your guys, when you go for soccer, when you go for spa dates, girls, we
also like spa dates. What do you mean? We also want to be within those massages.
Yeah, no,
but I hear you. Like even with locker room chats.
Yes, have the conversations. It's not always about business and the next deal.
Business and booty.
Yeah, it's not always about that. Sometimes it's really just
Yeah.
How can I be a better man for my woman? How can I be a better woman for my man? And
yeah, because things are changing.
yeah,
I mean, we do have eternal principles and consistent principles, but if people are evolving, we need to apply ourselves accordingly.
right.
Fun times. Thank you so much for coming through to the first episode.
Thank you.
Of Pane Nyaya. Guys, Pane Nyaya, guys. Pane
Pane
Nyaya.
Nyaya. Yeah.
Awesome. Check out the next episode coming soon. Check out her platforms. Yeah. She is an amazing photographer. I stand a queen.
Wow.
No, for real. I really like your images.
Thank you.
Your color grading, your framing, everything.
Wow. Thank you.
It's on point. So check it out. Her photography. I'm going to put links. Her YouTube channel. Check it out. I'm a subscriber. I watch consistently, so you should too.
I appreciate that.
You should too. What else is there? Isn't there a vlog as well? I mean, a blog.
Yeah, it's coming. So
Okay.
I'll send you all the links.
Her previous stuff. Check it out.
I'll send you a link
to
everything. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I have proper conversations with people and I interact with people. I like to have a community on there, so you can follow me on Instagram, Kumbirai _neRutendo, and yeah.
Fun times, guys. Have these conversations. Learn through conversation, and be about transformation. Love on a podcast.